Hi, and welcome to SportsTalkAM. This show is basically just going to be me bringing up issues in sports now, and you guys can comment on the videos, and we'll have a little interaction like that. I want this to be like a community-based sports show where listeners are involved, and I value your input, and hopefully you value mine, and we can have interaction through comments. You have my email and Twitter on the screen right now. You can send me comments, and we can interact about these topics in these ways. Um, so, really, I'm just gonna. This is gonna be a very unprofessional show. I'm not gonna try and make this at all, you know, news show worthy. I'm a college kid sitting in my dorm with basic audio equipment, but I'm a sports fan, and I like talking sports, and this is kind of just my way of reaching out to the community as almost a forum for talking sports, where you can provide me topics that I can bring up, or I'll provide topics, and then you can comment, and then we can have comments, discussions with each other in the comments, and I can bring up good points in the next show. That's really what I kind of want to do here. Um, and we'll just see how it goes from there. If it works, it works, and let me know. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and let me know how I can make it better. So I guess we'll start off with a topic that's really been bugging me lately, is the officiating in the National Hockey League. I know they're paid officials. I know at real time it's tough what they do. But just as a fan, it looks like they're just not being consistent at all. They're calling penalties that don't seem like really flagrant penalties, and then they're missing the ones that they shouldn't be missing, um, and then just mistakes that are confusing to a fan. And maybe there's a reason for it, maybe not. I don't know. But that's why I want to bring up this topic. And what really got me going about this is I saw a highlight reel from I believe it was the Canadiens and the Maple Leafs. Um, Played a game on February 28th, and this was a game where uh, I believe it was a tie game at the time, and the it was in the Canadiens' offensive zone, and the ref went to drop the puck, and was taking a little while, stood up, talked to both players. Like, it was obvious that he was talking to the players, and then the Maple Leafs guy stood up and took his stick off the ice, and while he was standing up, the ref dropped the puck. The ensuing face-off win went to the Canadiens. They scored a goal and would go on to win the game. That, to me, is just something that it seems almost unfair to the opposing team, and it seems like something that an official shouldn't be doing. I, it just I don't know. Maybe there was a reason for it. Maybe it was called for. I'm sorry. I want to just go back. This was on Wednesday, February 27th. Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it was tied 2-2. I believe in the third period when this happened. But it's just one of those things. Like, what's the ref doing, dropping the puck before both players are ready? And then I saw a good example of it in a game with the Rangers. Rangers and who'd they play? Oh shit. It was the Rangers and the Buffalo Sabres on March 3rd, and that game ended up going into a shootout. But in the closing minutes of the game, the Rangers player Rick Nash went to lift the offensive player's stick on the Sabres, and in the process of lifting the stick, his blade of his stick touched the other player's hand, and it was called hooking. Now, I know the rule says if the stick touches the other player's hands, now that's hooking. Alright, but there was like 4 minutes left in the game at the time, and it was a tie game at that point because it was in the third period. And I'm sitting there saying, how can you call a penalty like that? How can you call a game-changing penalty on something like that simple, that soft of a penalty? I understand he's enforcing the rules, but when you change the game like that, you gotta look at what you're doing. If it's a serious penalty, like an obvious boarding, like Dan Girardi took in overtime. Dan Girardi took an obvious boarding in overtime that made it a 5-on-3 power play in overtime. That's huge, but it was an obvious penalty, and it was a hard-hitting penalty. Those you gotta call. As much as they may change the game, you gotta call them. But something as simple as the stick goes up the other player's shaft of his stick and hits the guy in the hands, it just and then the fact that it's inconsistent in the fact that there was a trip or a hook on the Rangers player Ryan Callahan in overtime that was right in open ice, and it wasn't called, and it was to the point where the announcers said that the Sabres player got away with one there. I'm not trying to be biased. I'm not trying to start arguments, and I understand the rules are rules, and sometimes they don't see it because they're looking at it in real time, but it's the fact of the inconsistency that goes on. And I can bring up countless number of examples, and if you guys want me to, I can. I mean, I've got them in my head. I watch a lot of hockey throughout the entire league. I mean, goals that should be goals that were disallowed, pucks that were whistled too quickly, and goals were taken away for that reason. I've seen it a ton, and if you want more examples, I'll give you more examples, but I feel like I'm dragging on about this topic. That's really all I got to say on that. So really just leave comments in the comments section. You can email me, you can send me a tweet on Twitter, and I'll try and get back to you. The purpose of this is just to create discussion. I want to hear what other people have to say, if I'm the only one that's thinking the way I am, and other people who are afraid to speak up because they feel like they're the only ones thinking the way they are. I want this to be a voice for everyone, every fan of any sport. If you have other topics about other sports, feel free to leave those, and I'll definitely get to that next show. I'm going to be trying to put up daily topics. If you want me to do more topics in one episode, tell me to do more topics in one episode. Whatever you want me to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show highlights yet because of copyright issues. I'll definitely work on that though, so you can see what I'm talking about rather than me trying to explain it. Then you have to go look at it. Or maybe, you know what? I'll find the highlights and I'll put links in the descriptions of what I'm talking about, and that way you can see what I'm talking about, and then we can have a real good feedback. Alright, so that's me done for today. This has been Sports Talk AM, and just let's have some discussion. Alright, thank you.